Okay, as a quick follow-up to my last video, where I said that there were some stripped screws in the build plate for the Uniformation GK2, turns out the screws aren't actually stripped. The problem is that the inner screws aren't actually threading fully into the recessed nuts inside of the build plate itself. So I'm going to show you what I mean here. The exterior screws, the four of them here, are 28 millimeter screws, hex head, that you use the screwdriver that comes with the tool to do. Removing the last one here. So this is the build plate lid. Take that off. So this is the inside of the GK2 build plate. These are the areas where those external screws bolt down. And these here are the internal screws that you thread through these holes. They would hit there. And as I said earlier, the design of this is interesting because you tighten these down earlier, and then once you have the plate in place, you actually loosen them, so the screw then goes upward, and that pushes the plate up and pushes the bottom down, and that's how you level this plate down with 4 screws only. And it's an interesting design. Maybe better, maybe worse, but certainly interesting than some of the other designs that have multiple screws on the side and the plate itself off of the mechanized gantry that goes up and down. So the problem that I was bumping into here is that in one of these cases, the recessed nut that's in here wasn't high enough up, meaning that this hole here, where this hexagonal nut, this brass nut slots into, the nut was further down in, which meant that basically this 20 millimeter screw was only biting into the very, maybe one thread tops, probably closer to half a thread through. And that's what that clicking sound you heard was. In my previous video, it was barely threading in. So it was like this, and it wasn't, as a result, it wasn't able to push up ultimately and push the plate down and get full amounts of tension onto onto the FEP. And that's why I was having printing failures. So these recessed nuts that are down in these holes, you could tell here that sorry, let me try to focus it here. You could tell that the recess here is quite deeper than that brass nut would be. So what I did, I was exchanging some DMs with their support guy, and he had some great pictures that he shared. But what he said is to basically, use the screw to pull up, the nut here. Just thread it in and pull it up. And then he actually said to just pack in some paper, plastic, whatever, something compressible or non-compressible, doesn't really matter, but just pack in something to raise this nut up in its channel there. So I actually went and grabbed some fabric from my wife's threads cabinet, and I packed it down in there. That was pretty much a low-tech fix to a problem. And after I did this, I immediately had no problem with my subsequent calibrations and prints. So you can tell it compresses now in there, but that's fine, because ultimately it just needs to stay static once it's in there. And once that stuff's compressed, it's going to stay in place. So that was the fix. And I would say in the future, the other suggestion he gave is you can go buy some of these 28 millimeter screws, the external ones. You could buy some replacements of this and just use those in place of these 20 millimeter screws. So I would say feedback-wise for Uniformation, either use longer screws or use taller nuts that actually go all the way through, or when you mold this unit here, mold it so this slot that the nut drops into has a plastic bottom on it, so the nut can't go all the way down, that it's risen up a little, probably about, I don't know, 5-6 millimeters there. So pretty simple fix. And again, still running some calibrations, but my first one I did last night was successful, and was pretty happy about that to finally get this solved. So big shout out to James, Uniformation Support. He's active on their Discord, and was very, very helpful at this and gave me a fix, and it worked. So again, super happy with that, and glad we were able to solve that problem. So thanks a lot, and hopefully this was helpful to you.